welcome to Bent TV. You're on G Factor with Simone and Joe, and we have a special guest, Dr. Margie Smith. Now, it's with great pleasure that we introduce Dr. Margie Smith. She's an inspiration to me, and she has helped so many people around the globe with their health. She's a molecular geneticist, and she's been focusing on cancer genetics for over 20 years and has moved now into preventative health. She's written a book called Gene Genius, which is a fantastic book. I've read it from front to back. So welcome, Dr. Margie Smith, to our G Factor.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
First of all, the obvious question, how did we come up with the title of this book?
Well, I hope that by the end of reading the book that each person will feel that their own personal gene genius, that they know about their genes and how their genes are working for them in their day-to-day lives, their nutritional intake, and so people will be more aware and have more information about genes in a really understandable way.
So what did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, funny you should ask that question because I really think that I was born to be a scientist.
Really? And why is that, do you think?
Well, I was always interested in nature and the world around me, and always asking why. I was told off a lot at home for asking why. I was a very frustrating child, I think. The first thing I ever brought myself with money that I saved up was a microscope. So I was always interested in the world in detail and looking beyond what we could see with our eye. So I really wanted to understand more about the world that I lived in, about plants and animals and insects and people, and in that really fine detail. So that's why I became a molecular geneticist. So we're looking in fine detail. We're not only looking at the cell, but we're looking inside the cell to see what's there that actually makes us human beings.
And it's something very important that no one knows.
What is
But you
that?
know, with people's names and how they end up in a job or a career that's based on their name.
Really?
So Margaret...
I keep saying really. I like to know.
Margie's name is Margaret Jean Smith. So she's a Jean Smith, and she does genes. How cool is that?
Fitting! Oh, how just meant to be.
Yeah.
I know.
How amazing is that though?
Genius! All right, so why did you decide to write the book?
I decided to write the book because I kept getting so many questions from members of the public about genes, genetics, how it affects our lives, how we can use genetics for preventative health. And there wasn't really a book out there that I could refer them to. And I thought, well, I should write one. I should write a book that makes it really fun and funky for members of the public to be able to pick it up and read it. Even for our practitioners, for them to be able to, get insights into genetics, but written in a really fun way, so it's not a dry read.
So how can this help us with our health, Gene Genius, do you think?
It's designed to primarily change people's awareness about themselves and why certain things may be happening in their lives. It may be that that they have flat mood, that they sometimes feel a bit low, and there are genes in there that we talk about in terms of low mood and what you can actually do to improve that. Sometimes people will perhaps be driven to eating foods that have got lots of carbohydrates, lots of fatty or sugary foods, and we know that they make us feel better. I mean, our brain is actually not really as complicated as what we think. It's all about reward circuitry. Our brain will do things that make us feel better. So it's all about reward. So when people eat foods that are lots of carbs,
Having that lolly.
I think I can see quite a few carbs here, that that food contains the very things we need to make dopamine, which is part of our biochemical happiness in our brain. So if you're a person who has sort of lower mood states and you find yourself drawn to eating sugary foods, it's because you're trying to get that feel-good hormone dopamine. So there's all sorts of things like that in the book.
So there's some really cool genes that you have in the book, like the fatso gene, the meerkat gene, the novelty-seeking gene. And Joe wants to talk about the love gene.
The love gene! The most important, the relationship gene.
There are certain traits that people have based on genetics. So yeah, there are some fun genes in there, Simone. So if you want to know about the love gene, then, and if someone really doesn't want to know what the love gene is, then maybe go and make a cup of tea or something right now, because it's going to ruin your whole notion of what being in love actually is. You know, when you're in love and you can't think straight and you don't eat, or maybe you eat too much, I don't know, but you just can't stop thinking about that person. You want to call them every 5 minutes. What is going on? What's going on? So you're actually producing this little chemical called nerve growth factor. Now, it doesn't sound very sexy, but what it's responsible for is all those feelings of being in love.
Which you're addicted to.
And so your brain, that's right, people get addicted to it. Your brain pumps out lots and lots and lots of nerve growth factor. You may have noticed that somewhere between 6 and 12 months, those feelings start to subside. So you get out of the in love into what I call the real love, actually. Working through loving that person without that heightened state of,
Euphoria.
Loving when they put the lid on the toothpaste,
So you may find that all those little things that they do, like whistling in the car, that's so cute in the first 6 to 12 months. Suddenly, when your nerve growth factor stops being produced, you find that really irritating and annoying. All those little cutesy things. That used to really enjoy are no longer fun.
So the meerkat gene.
So you have to think. You have to think. Human beings are like 20 million years in the making, and some of us may go 20 million years to get like this.
Exactly.
Right? Is that disappointing or what? Are we happy?
Have we really evolved?
So a lot of the genes we have are very ancient genes, and were designed to help us stay alive. So the meerkat gene is actually a little gene called neuropeptide Y, and people who have particular versions of that gene, when they step out their door in the morning, they're on threat alert. They're like the meerkat. You know the little meerkat at the zoo? Yeah, the one on the mound? Yes. They're like that. They are on threat alert. They are looking around for threat. And they are programmed that way.
Well, there's a really important thing in relation to relationships, the novelty-seeking gene, and why.
This is really fun. I think that people really need to know about some of their genes if they're going to get into long-term relationships. May have noticed that some people like to leap out of perfectly good aircraft, and they call it skydiving, or risky type behaviours. They love that kind of thing. And then there's people at the other end who like nothing more than to pick up a good book and spend their weekend reading it. So right.
Doing risky sex things.
If you're a person who likes to engage in risky sex, then probably not a good idea to get involved with a person who really is an introvert who likes to read books and stay at home, maybe listen to music. That's not going to be a very good combination. We know that relationships that last the longest are when people have the same length of their novelty-seeking gene. So if you have a long version of it, people with long versions of that gene do very well together, and people with short versions do very well with that gene if they're going to be in long-term relationships.
Long or short?
And we've both got novelty-seeking genes.
So we might as well tell the viewers that you are actually together. They are in a relationship. For how long?
16
this is
years.
your better half?
Yes.
16 years.
16 years, so you believe it's...
The whole thing with novelty is that when we're younger, the effects of that gene are so much more, like they're really, expanded. And then as we age, they tend to drop off a lot. But so you can actually just sit back and reminisce about all those things you used to do that were risky.
But you don't do those now, right?
No, definitely not.
We might.
You could have said yes and made it a bit more exciting.
We might.
We do have an interesting one.
So I think it's really important that it explains why we're all so different, and even in the workforce, why someone might drive you nuts. Like you might be an introvert and someone in your office might be an extrovert, and they just never stop talking. And that can be really difficult. Or the extrovert may perceive the introvert as someone who just doesn't talk and they don't like to play well with others. And so we have all these perceptions about each other. But really, it's about our biochemistry, and I think we all have to learn to like all those different qualities. But in terms of relationships, people who are similar generally do better in relationship.
Well, do I have the good lover genes in me? Is that possible that I could go, that pick me because I'm a good lover.
I'd like to know, like, what are some of the qualities you think the good lover gene had? You know, as a scientist, I'm really interested in your...
Not lazy, that's one.
Lazy. You were not lazy.
Not
lovers.
lazy.
Not a lazy lover. You know, somebody that can just be romantic.
Service you?
I mean, yeah, satisfy me and be romantic at the same time, and for that to just continue. I don't want that to end after 12 months.
Well, it shouldn't. It should deepen.
Yeah, it should get better.
So how can I tell?
So the thing is, though, you need to ask yourself, are you going to be able to get over your in-love addiction?
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you going to replace that with? What are you going to replace that with?
That's almost like a piece of chocolate to me. That is like the same kind of...
I know, and you've reached
and
chocolate.
I love chocolate.
So remember, your brain is very wired towards reward and pleasure seeking.
It is.
Yes. So
do
you're going
I
to
see
have
somebody with that DNA?
Well, you're just addicted to the nerve growth factor.
You might have to find
Not the G
things that
factor,
are...
you're addicted to the nerve growth
The N
factor.
factor.
That's right. You might have to find things that stimulate little bursts of nerve growth factor. You might want to watch some movies together on TV of a particular genre, or you know, you might want to engage in other ways. So you put some energy into actually having a deeper love rather than just...
It takes work. It doesn't just naturally always happen. You've got
I
to
see.
put in. You've got to put in, Joe. Put
I
out.
see. Put in and put out.
Yeah.
Sounds as if
And be
that's what we
flexible.
need to do. Thanks for watching G Factor. We'll see you next time. Hope it was as good for you as it was for us.
If you'd like to win a copy of Gene Genius, you can go in the draw at win at Bent TV. So good luck, and if you win a copy, I hope you enjoy reading it.